one of these days somebody's gonna wake up.
Or clap.
So I like every day I'm sort of sick.
Can you just like snap right here instead?
Well, it has to be between both.
Okay. Alright. Okay. So I wanted to take some time to talk about this one thing.
Okay.
Today. I think I sent you the articles. I think you've seen some yourself as well. It's regarding the student in Seattle, a master's student in Seattle from India named Jaahnavi, who was struck by a police officer driving 65 in a 25-mile speed limit. She was crossing the road as a pedestrian, doing what pedestrians do, and this officer struck her, and she passed away. Now, this happened in January, and we're just now hearing about it, and it's what, September, end of September?
Yeah.
And I think it's really frustrating because it happens over and over again where you hear cases about police brutality. But before we get into that, I wanted to mention that there is a clip, trigger warning to those who haven't seen it. But there's a clip of this police officer essentially talking about how, they should just write a check for $11,000 because, she was only 26 and she didn't have any value. And that's really frustrating to hear as a person of color because, again, it is a white male, privileged. And the fact that he's so privileged that he thinks that somebody else's life does not have value. And for somebody who is supposed to protect the public, you get what I'm saying? How?
Yeah. Yeah. But this is one of the times where I would say, I don't even think that him being white or male has anything to do with it. I think we found this time and time again that the police itself has no accountability in this country. Right? The fact that this guy, was speeding, killed somebody, not really in the line of duty. It's not like he was gunning his way towards a crime scene or something like that. Killed somebody, laughed it off.
Yeah, laughed it off.
And then, how this came out, right? Was
somebody else saw the video.
Another police officer saw it and was concerned and raised a concern about it. And then it leaked and went viral.
Props to that officer.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing. I think it's really amazing that there's more officers now
It's really hot, sorry.
sort of crossing over that thin blue line. But, and this is not, I don't think it's being charged as police brutality or excessive use of force, which technically it is neither of those. But it's still I don't know why police officers are immune to accountability while wearing a uniform. So even after when you're not wearing a uniform. Because it's
but the thing is, okay, so there's a few things that they haven't been fact checked, right? And one of them was we don't know if his license was suspended. I've seen that. There's apparently 14 cases prior to just this one that he's been disciplined for or whatever. So there's a few things that have come here and there hasn't been any fact check on it, so I don't want to mention those things over and over again. But to me, it's he called his superior. He turned his body cam off and he called his superior. As a superior, I would be the one being dude, you effed up.
Not even that. Hey, you know what? This thing happened. We've got to go through the right.
Yeah, we have to go through the right channels to figure this out. How is it that it wasn't oh, you struck a pedestrian. She was just.
Yeah, so I don't think the body cam footage though. I don't think it's from the officer who hit the girl. I think it's from his partner.
No, it's actually from him. So that's been fact checked.
I need to look it up.
Yeah.
I think it's from Partner. I'm actually gonna look it up while we talk about it.
Okay. Because I just read another article to make sure that it was indeed him, because there was also a lot of speculation that it wasn't him, and so there was some, fact checking done on that. His name is Daniel. Yeah. No, so Daniel is not the.
Yeah, but he's the one who's joking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Officer Daniel Auderer, Vice President of the Seattle Police Officers Guild, joked about the death by Officer Kevin Dave's vehicle. So Kevin Dave is the one who did it, but the leaked footage is from Officer Daniel Auderer, who's his superior.
I just saw another article that said that it's actually Kevin and not Daniel. Okay. I think it's because because it's getting so much attention right now, there's a lot of things that are being said here and there hasn't been.
So this is from the Seattle Times.
Either way, that's just a really effed up thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially when somebody has lost their life, and for you to say things like, "Oh, this this person didn't have values," to just write a $11,000 check, and it's just, gosh, my blood. I've been thinking about it since I found out yesterday, and honestly, I wouldn't even have found out about it if it wasn't a lot of, Pop Shift posted about it, and then obviously my fellow creators have posting about it, and that's how I saw it.
Yeah.
But there's been articles that were written back in January that we didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the luck of the draw type thing, though, right? In social media, where it's this just happened to go viral. And luckily,
even more sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. Because, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago, news also broke of a family whose dog had been hit by a car, and they were driving to the vet, got pulled over, and the police held them at gunpoint for some obscene amount of time, and there's body cam footage of people being hey, please, my dog is dying, and the police just well, yeah, don't really care. Eventually they let him go. They're jerks about it, and then the dog obviously did not make it. They get to the vet, the dog dies, which obviously completely different scenarios as far as the stakes there. So that's not necessarily a comparison of the situations, but more a continuity of the idea that police consistently think that they're above humanity. Not even the law, right? Because technically in both of these instances, they didn't necessarily break the law, right? But the humanity is gone.
Yeah.
Right? The idea that you just don't care about another living thing, a person who has lost their life, a child, somebody's child, a student, you just don't care.
Yeah, it's a lot of just, but I feel they're reactive biases, and it's yeah. But I think the more one of the more important things I wanted to talk about, obviously this is very important, and I'm saying this in addition to police brutality. For me, it's when I hate saying this, but we always talk about this, especially when stuff like this happens, and that is, if a police officer responds to somebody who's not a person of color, it is a completely different.
Yeah.
It plays out quite differently, right?
Yeah.
We can't even say that it doesn't. It does, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
And so I think everybody is quite frankly so tired of how people of color are treated, and how their lives are anything regarding them can easily be dismissed. They are resorted to nothing. Their lives have no value, and it's so frustrating because there's so many, Lily actually mentioned this in her thing, and it is so true. And that is like
Who's Lily?
Lily Singh.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was somebody else.
No.
Sorry.
Lily Singh. She had posted about it, and it really does put life in perspective, right? Because she's currently in India doing her thing, and then there's a lot of people that live overseas that move to the U.S. for better opportunities, to live an American dream, and a lot of families can't afford for the entire families to come, so they send their kids out to U.S., Canada, wherever, right? And this person's family did the same thing. Jaahnavi's mom did the same thing. She took on debt to put her in school here in the U.S., and this is how her life ended. And just having some sort of decency would have been great.
Yeah.
Dude, you killed somebody. Show some remorse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what the actual officer who hit her has to say, because from everything I'm reading, it's about this other guy. So I'm curious to see what he has to say,
quite frankly, from
he's
moral
not-
compass, the guy who did it needs to be investigated. What was he on? Was he on drugs? Was his license actually suspended? Were there 14 cases actually? Do all of that. But that investigation should have launched back in January when it happened, not now.
Yeah.
Right. And then two, the guy who was on this camera, the cop who was laughing at a human life on camera.
Yeah, he should be suspended.
He should absolutely be suspended.
Yeah.
If he does not have, his moral compass is broken.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the way I see it is that your job is to protect the citizens in the community, right? If you don't have enough decency to value the loss of a life, right, regardless of whose life that is, you shouldn't be on the force. You can't be trusted to protect people.
Yeah.
Right, that type of laughter and stuff like that.
It
You're
was
a serial killer, bro.
Yes.
I mean, you're not literally a serial killer, but you're a sociopath, and there shouldn't be sociopaths on the police force.
Yes. I really do hope that they really investigate this whole thing. And I also pray that one day we stop hearing about stuff like this. But I think her family does have a GoFundMe page. I think that we are going to link it in our drop-down box. If you happen to land on this video, please support our family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite that.